Hello and welcome to the interview here on France 24. He was Israel's prime minister from 1999 to 2009. He served several times as minister, and he is, for now, retired from politics. He's the author of a new memoir titled My Country, My Life, Fighting for Israel, Searching for Peace. Ehud Barak joins us via satellite from Tel Aviv. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Mr. Barak, there's a controversy grabbing headlines in Israel about the cancellation of a football game between Israel and Argentina after protests from the Palestinians. What's your reaction to this news?
We are not happy. Israelis are disappointed, frustrated, especially Messi fans. But in a way, we should realize the truth. It put a mirror into our face, which tells us that we probably grabbed it too far into a political issue instead of leaving it to the sport authorities in both countries.
So it was a mistake from the Israeli authorities to try to move that game from Haifa to Jerusalem.
Yeah, I think that, it's basically, I tell you, I don't think that the Palestinians are perfect or that there is no politics from the other side, BDS or other kind of rivals of Israel, but basically by exaggerating, making it a major issue about Jerusalem, insisting it will be in Jerusalem, paying extra money and all these kind of hyper was a kind of mistake which helped us probably to correct ourselves toward the future by putting this mirror in front of us that enables us to see what happens.
I want to get to the issue of Iran. The Israeli Prime Minister was in Europe on a recent visit to talk about two things. He said Iran and Iran. Obviously, a month ago, the Trump administration decided to withdraw from the 2015 nuclear deal. Iran just announced it would begin building advanced centrifuges. We're seeing not only American, but also European companies pulling out of Iran. Basically, my question to you is this deal unraveling already?
I don't know. I cannot tell now. It's only the future will tell. Basically, once President Trump pulled out of it, it became part of reality. And the American pressure on European multinationals is quite effective through the banking system and the financial arena. But it's not clear. And anyhow, there is one good result. As of now, the Iranians turn to be more cautious in their responses because they suspect that there is more than this behind the American steps, that basically now the American administration, with Pompeo on one side and Bolton on the other, might be waiting for an opportunity to identify the slightest violation of the agreement in order to launch an attack against the Iranian nuclear facilities, or probably listening to Pompeo 12 demand from Iran, probably even aiming at removing the regime. So basically, under those suspicions, the Iranians behave much better, much more cautiously and responsibly, and that's the good news. But it's not yet clear. I think there is certain damage. There is bad side to it as well, because the Iranians, if they decide at any step, let's say three years down the stream, to resume enrichment of uranium, they will argue that they are not the first to break the agreement. The Americans were there before them.
You mentioned the possibility of the U.S. considering a military strike against Iran. Do you think this is really on the horizon? Obviously, there's been talk, even when you're also in government serving as defense minister, that Israel would be striking Iran. Do you think the Trump administration is seriously considering that option now?
I don't know. I just mentioned the Iranians are strongly suspicious that that's the American intention, or at least it's considered, and that kind of shape in a way the behavior of the Iranians themselves. I didn't think about realities. I think about the Iranian perception of the situation.
When you were in government, I mentioned there were instances when you and the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu pushed the military, the intelligence service, to prepare for an attack. Apparently, there was some resistance. Do you regret not hitting Iran back in 2011, 2012, or do you think this was the right decision?
No, regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention, as Frank Sinatra used to sing. I don't have regrets. In a way, I was more hawkish than Netanyahu at this stage about the need to prepare and be ready if the kind of compelling imperative to do it will emerge, be ready to do it. But that was about almost a decade ago, and now we are facing another reality. Now the right thing to do is to sit behind closed doors with the Americans, try to define together what means, what is a breakout, what defines a breakout, and how to prepare for this situation, to know about it, and then at what stage military options should be brought back to the table. American or Israeli or whatever, I think that these understanding behind closed doors is much more important than any tour of trying to convince European leaders to change their mind. They won't change their mind just because of a meeting, however benign, with Israeli Prime Minister.
I want to get quickly to the Palestinian issue. Obviously, you negotiated several years ago with Yasser Arafat. The two-state solution now seems to be essentially very remote. Mahmoud Abbas, the current leader, is not in very good health. Some say he's basically lost faith in such a solution. Have you also lost faith in the two-state solution, Ehud Barak?
No, I didn't lose faith. I believe that it remains the only long-term possible stable or sustainable equilibrium. But I agree that the time is not ripe. You will listen to Mahmoud Abbas' recent speech, full of almost anti-Semitic themes. Probably we'll have to wait to his replacement, but it's not clear. You know, my judgment is the following. Israel is strongest than any neighbor or combination of neighbors 1,500 kilometers around Israel. So we can act out of strength and self-confidence to, first of all, protect ourselves. This is a tough neighborhood, much tougher than Europe or North America. And we have to always be stronger, but at the same time never lose sight of the objective, which is not just to kill mosquitoes, it's to drain the swamp, to deal with the root causes of the conflict, which has to do with the Palestinian issue. And we have to do it not because of the Palestinians, because of our own future identity and security.
Quickly, the situation in Gaza, the British Foreign Secretary called for a transparent, independent inquiry into the death of over 100 Palestinians. Are you concerned that this could boil over?
I'm not worried by the demands to have investigation. I don't think that we have to agree to it. We have an independent judicial system that works very hard against whatever is improper, for sure, according to international law and so on. But no one is happy when dozens of people are killed. In fact, you don't need 100 of them, even 10 or 1. If he's an innocent, is one too many loss of life. But we have no easy choices there. Israel cannot afford the border being crossed over and people reach into Israel, not just because we, especially those who believe in two-state solution, need the border as a crucial element that should be respected, but also because of practical issues. In Israel, around Gaza Strip, sometimes less than 100 yards from this barrier, there are civilians living their life, or civilian infrastructure and properties. So we cannot afford it happening. We have very sophisticated kind of control of means to control riots at a distance of several meters or several tens of meters, but not effective means to deal with tens of thousands at the distance of 300, 400 meters that should be developed. But in the meantime, I should repeat, the more important is not just to make sure that in the next kind of clash there will be much less, and if if possible, zero fatalities. It's to deal with the roots of the problem. Our government has on its table recommendation from our Secret Service, from our defense forces, backed by several ministers within the cabinet, to change the situation in Gaza, to work together with the Egyptians, some other Arab countries, to loosen the tight hold on the Gaza Strip, let them go out and in, let them have better electricity, better water supply, better health services, and that serves Israel. We have nothing with the Gazans. It's 2 million people which want food for the kids, shelter, whatever, good education, good quality of water. We have a struggle only with Hamas, and we have to focus on Hamas and let the steam out by taking steps to ease the humanitarian situation, which is on a verge of a crisis.
Just a very last question, very quickly. In your book, you're saying this government is undermining Israeli democracy. A very straightforward question. Should Benjamin Netanyahu resign?
I say that he should resign for many reasons. He's, you know, I don't want you to misread me. He's a legitimately elected, freely elected prime minister, and the government is my government as well, and they are legitimate government, but they are wrong on many issues. So they have to change policy, and if elections are needed in order to bring fresh, new leadership with another direction, it's better. But he has to resign because if he's deep involvement or deep kind of situation in criminal investigation, which involves almost everyone around him, and the police already recommending to issue indictment on bribe cases in 2 of these stories. I think that Prime Minister under this situation cannot operate freely. That was the Benjamin Netanyahu judgment about one of his predecessors, Ehud Barak, when he was in similar situation. And I think that he was right then, and he just should take the example of what he preached 10 years ago.
Ehud Barak, thank you very much for being on the France 24 interview show, and thank you for watching it.